Welcome back to the Lights Out Podcast, bedtime stories for boys and girls around the world. Good evening, boys and girls. Are you ready for bed? Are you all snuggled up and ready for another Lights Out bedtime story? Good, because you're in for a treat tonight. That's right. In tribute to the creator of Little Miss books and Mr. Men books, Roger Hargreaves, we have a series of 24 stories in 24 hours to make sure that wherever in the world you are, whatever time you go to bed, you have a Mr. Men book to listen to tonight. Book 5 of 24. Mr. Sneeze by Roger Hargreaves. Once upon a time. This is the story of Mr. Sneeze, who lived in a small snow-covered cottage in Shivertown, the capital of Cold Land. Every morning, Mr. Sneeze woke up, sneezed, got up, sneezed, got dressed, sneezed, went downstairs, sneezed, ate his breakfast, sneezed, and went to work, still sneezing. "Ooh, I don't like this sneezing all the time," he thought to himself every day, until one day he decided to leave Cold Land and try to find a cure for the sneezes. So that very same day, Mr. Sneeze packed the things he'd need for his journey, mainly handkerchiefs, sneezed, locked his front door, sneezed, and set off. He walked and sneezed and walked his way across Cold Land, and then he sneezed and walked and sneezed for days and days until Cold Land was far behind. As he walked away from Cold Land, he noticed that there was less and less snow, and eventually he walked so far that there was no snow at all. And as he walked, he noticed something else. He wasn't walking and sneezing, he was just walking and walking. For the first time in his life, he wasn't sneezing, not at all, not a bit, not even the tiniest tissue. "Oh, I wonder why I'm not sneezing," he thought to himself. But he must have thought his thoughts out loud to himself, because a voice behind him replied, "You're not sneezing because you haven't got a cold." Mr. Sneeze jumped, turned, and there behind him stood a wise old wizard. "What's a cold?" asked Mr. Sneeze. "A cold is what you catch when you're too cold," said the wise old wizard wisely. "Oh," said Mr. Sneeze, "but I come from a country called Cold Land where everybody is too cold all the time." "Nonsense," snorted the wizard. "It can't be too cold for all the time, because of the sun." And he pointed to the sun, which was smiling in the sky. "But we don't have any sun in Cold Land," said Mr. Sneeze. "No sun?" exclaimed the wizard. "How extremely extraordinary. We'd better do something about that then, hadn't we?" "Yes," agreed Mr. Sneeze, not quite knowing what the wizard was talking about. "How far away is this place called Cold Land?" asked the wizard. "Oh, it's miles and miles and miles away," replied Mr. Sneeze. "And which direction?" asked the wizard. Mr. Sneeze pointed. "Shouldn't take long," said the wizard, who was then waved his wand and muttered some magic words which wouldn't be magic if we told you what they were. Whatever those magic words were, they worked. Before you could say sneeze, both the wizard and Mr. Sneeze were transported to Shivertown, which, you will remember, is the capital of Cold Land. As usual, it was snowing. I say, it's a cold and gloomy place, said the wizard. A tish! Cried Mr. Sneeze, who started sneezing again. Cold land certainly needs sunshine, said the wizard, and that's going to take some rather special magic. Oh, please hurry up, said Mr. Sneeze, who was rapidly turning into a snowman. Now, said the wizard, ignoring him, I'm going to say some magic words and I want you to sneeze 3 times immediately afterwards. The wise old man then held up his magic wand and muttered some more magic words, which again wouldn't be magic if we told you what they were. A tissue, a tissue, a tissue, sneezed Mr. Sneeze. Then quite suddenly, as if by magic, which indeed it was, the sun came out from behind the big black clouds, and it stopped snowing. There now, said the wizard, that should stop the sneezing. And then, after muttering some more magic words and without waiting to even say goodbye, he disappeared. Mr. Sneeze just stood there in the sunshine, watching the snow begin to melt. After that, the sun shone every day, and today, Cold Land isn't anything like it used to be. You can't see red-nosed dogs chasing red-nosed cats chasing red-nosed mice anymore. And these days, the sound of the sneeze is a very uncommon sound indeed. And even Mr. Sneeze doesn't sneeze anymore. And that isn't the only thing different about Mr. Sneeze, as he discovered himself when he looked in the mirror one morning. Can you see what was different about Mr. Sneeze? It happened one other time too. See if you can find the page where that was. The end of Mr. Sneeze by Roger Hargreaves, here on the Lights Out podcast. Bedtime stories for boys and girls and Mr. Sneezes around the world. Good night.